Structuring Your Healing, a 5-factor model for recovering from chronic pain and illness. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I get a lot of questions each week asking, what exactly should I be doing each and every day to maximize my chances of healing chronic pain and chronic illness by using this approach? And it's a fair question. We all want to know this. How do we structure things? And in this video, I'm going to explain the 5-factor model that I utilize in my approach to support someone in healing chronic pain and chronic symptoms. A mistake that I often see take place is people pick one skill or they pick one strategy to focus all their energy in. A great example of this is using a brain retraining technique such as somatic tracking, or my version of this, which is called embodiment practice. That's a great skill. These things work really, really well. But if that's all you're doing, you're just doing your somatic tracking 3 times a day, it's probably not going to be enough for a lot of you to fully heal from neuroplastic pain or symptoms. And so in my approach, what we're doing is we're trying to change how your pain and symptom system in the brain is working. For a lot of us, it becomes sensitized. This is what causes most chronic pain and chronic symptoms. It's not because our body is damaged or diseased. Our pain and symptom system in the brain has become sensitized, which results in basically safe signals going up from your body. So say you have back pain, safe signals are going up, light amount of pressure, no cause for alarm, neutral sensation. But those signals from the body are getting combined in your brain with a bunch of other information. The safety that you feel of your body, if your body's damaged or not, your emotional state, your nervous system state, other ways that you're coping in life, and if they're increasing a sense of danger, your sense of social danger in your larger life, like all that information is getting combined with signals from your body. And as a result, it clicks on pain or physical symptoms. And so in this 5-factor model that I utilize, what we're doing is we're trying to alter the way your pain and symptom system is working. And eventually, when it works more accurately, pain and symptoms then actually reduce. But if we're only using one skill or strategy, it's often not enough for full healing to take place. So in this video, I'll quickly explain these 5 factors that I think each person needs to be spending some time on. Each of these 5 factors every single day, because that's going to maximize our efforts. Now, if you need more support after this video, I do have a digital course. My digital course is super comprehensive, and it's organized in a way that actually structures your healing. It tells you what to do first, second, and third. Now, in that digital course, I have 10 really comprehensive modules that include education. It includes over 60 plus somatic practices, brain retraining practices. So you have a whole buffet of things to pick from. And as I've said, it's very structured. In this video, I'll do my best, but on YouTube, I can't perfectly structure, what someone should do first, second, third, because there's just a lot of videos under different playlists. I understand the digital course can be expensive. So if you don't have the money, just watch this video, start to apply different practices that are on my channel for free so that you can at least start to focus in all 5 of these areas. Now, the first area we want to focus on is changing thoughts and beliefs. We need to work on changing our thoughts and beliefs about our body, about our pain, about our symptoms, and just life in general. For a lot of us, we have a lot of negative thinking about our body and our physical symptoms, especially before we come to a brain and nervous system approach and understand that our pain and symptoms are not due to damage or disease in the body. We often view our body as flawed, like there's something really wrong with it. My symptoms are going to be here forever. I'm not going to be able to handle attending to them. They make me super anxious. They're never going to go away. Like we have this peppering of negative thinking and beliefs that take place. And so the one area we want to focus on is starting to change our thoughts and beliefs. I have lots of skills and education on this channel to support you doing that. Down below, I'll put a video for working with obsessive thinking. It also works with fear thoughts, despairing thoughts, critical thoughts. But in that video, I outline a skill that you can start to utilize because we need to develop safer beliefs and thoughts about our body and about our symptoms. And by doing that, we're disalarming that pain and symptom system in the brain. We're creating safety, and that's going to help you heal. One thing I did when I was first healing, every time I had a fear thought, despairing thought about my symptom, I would give myself some safe self-talk. I'd remind myself, okay, my body's healthy. There's no damage or disease. I'm going to be able to recover from this by doing this approach. It's just going to take some time. Or you could tell yourself, I know this sensation's unpleasant, but it's temporary and it'll eventually pass. So get in the habit of doing this. Like each time you have a negative thought or belief about your pain, your body, or about life in general, feed yourself, feed your brain some safe self-talk to help create regulation and soothe your pain and symptom system. That's what we're going for long term. Now, the second area that I focus on my approach is brain retraining and graded exposure. We need to retrain the brain out of producing chronic pain and chronic symptoms. And so what we do here is we're trying to shift what we call the sensitization cycle. The sensitization cycle is what perpetuates chronic pain and symptoms and just keeps them going. So you think you have pain and symptoms, and then you have some type of dysregulated response. Fight, flight, freeze, shutdown, fear, frustration, despair, annoyance, anger, negative thoughts, negative beliefs, avoidance behaviors. You have some type of dysregulated response to your pain and symptoms. Your brain feels more in danger. It produces more pain and symptoms. More pain and symptoms, more dysregulation, more pain and symptoms. So when we're doing this brain retraining work, we're not trying to change the pain or symptoms in the moment. We're trying to change the dysregulated response. I have a great embodiment practice that I did a few weeks ago. I'll put the link down below. It helps you start to change your nervous system's response to be one of more regulation, safety, and calmness while attending to your pain and symptoms. And by doing that, your pain and symptoms can actually start to reduce as your brain feels safer. The other part in this second factor is exposure. For a lot of people with chronic pain and symptoms, our world gets smaller and smaller and smaller. We avoid more and more. But the thing about avoidance is it may help for a short period, but long-term avoidance of movement, positions, activities, work, school, being in our community or with friends, all that avoidance actually makes your brain feel more in danger. And so we can't heal by avoiding. This is some of the harder practices where we need to start to slowly and gradually expand our world. In our digital course, we have monthly Q&A sessions with the members, and a lot of people are working away at graded exposure. It was great to hear about in our last session. Like people are really working away on expanding their world slowly using the techniques we talk about. Because by doing that, first off, it's going to help your pain and symptoms reduce because it's almost a behavioral message of safety. If you slowly start to walk a few more minutes a day, your brain starts to learn, oh, my body's not damaged, and it clicks pain and symptoms off. That's the idea. And so as people expand their world outward, it creates more safety, and that's going to help you heal. And so that graded exposure is really essential when we actually want to start to move forward and fully recover from our pain and symptoms. Now, the third area, the third factor in this model is nervous system regulation and emotional processing. They're kind of one and the same, but we're trying to regulate the nervous system. We're teaching people to touch in to dysregulation. Fight, angry, frustrated, flight, nervous, fearful, could be fawn, which is more like appeasing, people-pleasing behavior, and freeze, shutdown, where people feel despair, hopeless, helpless. I'm helping people touch in, learn to get exposure to being in their body with their nervous system state, with their emotions, and by doing that, they learn to actually move out of it. So it's not nervous system regulation isn't just always feeling safe and calm. We want to bring more of that energy on, but we want to process the dysregulation. And so far in this video, I've covered thoughts and beliefs, brain retraining graded exposure, and nervous system regulation, processing of emotions. Each day, we want to be including a bunch of this, a variety of these three factors. What I'll see people do is they attend to their emotions with a somatic practice, or they attend to their nervous system with somatic practice or certain journaling, but they do it like once every 2 days. The reality is you're a human being. And you're going to feel dysregulation each and every day. You're going to feel difficult emotions. That's normal. That's part of being human. But for a lot of us, what's happened is if we resist feeling emotions, if we push them down, if we resist dysregulation, we live in fear of it, we try to suppress it, it actually makes your brain and nervous system feel more in danger. And then it produces more pain and symptoms. So the way out is through. We need to actually start to touch into emotions, dysregulation, feel it, and learn to create safety with it. On this channel, I have a number of practices in the meditation section on my main channel page that you can check out around emotions or nervous system states. If you're confused when I'm saying nervous system states, I did a video earlier last week on the 5 nervous system states. It's a 101, it breaks it all down. And then also in my digital course, we have well over 20 nervous system and emotional practices that people can start to use on a daily basis and really embody emotions and their nervous system state, learn to feel safe with them, because I've seen people do this and their pain and symptoms actually start to come down. Now, the fourth area that I focus on in my approach, the fourth factor, is processing of trauma. And I don't say this lightly, because whether I'm doing one-on-one work with people or people are processing trauma in my digital course, I'm really proud of the people that do that, because it is hard work. A lot of us have faced childhood adversity, bullying, abuse, neglect, dangerous situations like surgeries or accidents. Whether it's in childhood or adulthood, a lot of us have faced some really overwhelming things. And even if trauma has taken place 20 years before your pain and symptoms came on, trauma and chronic pain and symptoms are best friends. They are linked together really, really close. You're about 2.7 times more likely to have chronic pain, chronic fatigue, other chronic symptoms if you've had childhood adversity or trauma earlier in life. That's huge. You're more than double likely to develop chronic pain or chronic symptoms. And so for a lot of people, the brain retrainings and the emotional work can be great, but we need to go back and touch into those memories, work through them, process the dysregulation that's been stored in your body that's keeping your pain and symptom system inaccurate. It's keeping it in this heightened state of danger, which has kept you in pain for a long time. And so processing of trauma, again, on my YouTube channel, I can't really do that with people. But I do recommend, if you're in Canada, you can hook up with one of the therapists, connect with them at my clinic. If you're outside of Canada, find a good somatic trauma therapist. It can be really beneficial for healing. And then also in our digital course, we outline a whole process that people can move through at a self-pace for processing their trauma. But again, I don't say this stuff lightly, because doing this work is really hard. It's really, really difficult. I like Nicole Sachs, who's a famous therapist in this area. I like her saying of, we're choosing a lot of times in life between what's hard and what's harder. And I had to go back and process trauma, and that was hard. But it was going to be harder for me to stay in pain and physical symptoms. And that was a hard choice for me to make, to really go back, start to process everything I had gone through earlier in life. But it really can be beneficial. So that's why this is a big part of our approach. The other thing around trauma that I recommend, that it often occurs with chronic pain, chronic symptoms, is things like medical trauma. So trauma from medical procedures, interactions with the medical community, or what I call sensitization trauma. Sensitization trauma is the trauma that occurs from the onset or progression of chronic pain, chronic symptoms. We have a trauma response of heightened fight, flight, fawn, freeze, shutdown. We have this heightened trauma response to our pain and symptoms coming on or progressing. every week I'm supporting clients in processing this. I think it's really essential when we talk about that sensitization cycle that keeps pain and symptoms going. If we've had this trauma response to our pain and symptoms, sometimes we need to go back and process those memories when pain and symptoms first came on or progressed forward. Now, the last factor in my 5-factor model is social safety. I find this is missing from a lot of the mind-body approaches out there. Social danger, not feeling safe in relationships, in the way that you live life, that you go about living life, in work, school, not feeling safe in your wider community. There's not always easy changes, but it's really important for people to assess, is this one of the reasons my pain and symptom system is not working correctly and driving forward these chronic symptoms? Because social danger can be a big factor that I've seen people make really courageous, big changes in life and have their pain and symptoms reduce. Not everyone needs this, because I know I'm going to get some comments. Do I have to quit my job? I'm really into my job. It causes me a lot of stress. I don't want to quit it, but I don't want pain and symptoms. You don't necessarily need to quit your job. I'm not saying that. Every single person is a little bit individual. For example, there was friends in my life when I was recovering from pain and symptoms that I had to let go. I don't regret those choices. It was hard. It was overwhelming, but there were some toxic friendships that was keeping me in a state of danger that I needed to let go of. In terms of the way I work, the way I go about living life, I've had to learn this, because a lot of people in this mind-body space, they can be perfectionistic, controlling, people-pleasing, high-achieving. And don't get me wrong, these traits, they're ways that we learn to cope in the world. But when we start to use them excessively, it keeps us in a state of danger. What I'll see happen is, outside of social safety, before this, we've covered more of these micro factors that you're doing this internal work: thoughts and beliefs, brain retraining, nervous system regulation, processing emotions, and processing trauma. This is all this internal work. But what I'll see people do is, they have a lifestyle. They're living life with high perfectionism, high intensity. They don't feel safe in their relationships. And so all the other 4 factors, they're almost being applied as Band-Aids to a lifestyle that's not naturally cultivating a sense of safety. So focusing on shifting the way we live life and the factors in our life can be essential to creating safety and ultimately helping us heal from chronic pain, chronic symptoms. In my digital course, for example, all of Module 9 is 101 of how we start to change these unhealthy ways of coping, these unhelpful ways of coping, such as perfectionism or people pleasing. So we do a lot of work. We talk to people about relationship patterns to look out for. And so really consider this as your healing. Do I need to focus more on creating social safety? Because I've seen that be the missing link in getting someone's pain or symptoms to reduce or become eliminated. So I hope this video is helpful. Please put your questions, comments down below, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you all soon. Take care.